Boston wrestling sports and the MWF explodes into a new year of unknown with professional wrestling content galore, and we need you to join our family. Every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. after we review the previous night's Monday Night Raw, it's Wrestling Insiders at your house with the unpredictable WWE Hall of Famer, Mr. USA, Tony Atlas. Wednesday nights after WWE, NXT, and AEW at 10 p.m., you never know who's going to show up on Wrestling Insiders Special Edition. Every Thursday night at 10 p.m. after our NXT and Dynamite review, it's Marty Jannetty's No Holds Barred Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll journey through the 80s and 90s on Wrestling Insiders Party with Marty. Friday nights after the lights go down at the Thunderdome on SmackDown, it's John Cena Sr.'s Wrestling Insiders Fabulous Fridays. Plus, look for classic clips, bonus live episodes, pay-per-view watch-alongs, and more. If you want early, ad-free access to all of our Wrestling Insider talk shows, our acclaimed studio shoot interview DVD library, and to help keep wrestling legends working during the worst of times, for less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, join our growing family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Expect the unexpected in 2021.
This is Mick Foley.
This is Harley Race.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
And this is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there live.
Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, welcome to Wrestling Insiders Current Events, where tonight we discuss the February 12th, 2021 edition of WWE SmackDown from the award-winning Thunderdome at Tropicana Field in Tampa, Florida, just 9 days before Elimination Chamber. Temperatures are Arctic in the low 20s here at MWF Studios in downtown Melrose, Massachusetts, the zip code of champions, 02176. It is a city that is excited for Cecil the Lion's land party later this month. If you're interested in landing with Cecil, let us know. We'd be happy to provide you with his phone number. Before we talk SmackDown, don't forget that at the top of the hour, 10 p.m. Eastern, it's Wrestling Insiders Weekend Review. This week, we have all four full-length Wrestling Insiders in-studio shoot interviews from this past week with WWE Hall of Famer, Mr. USA Tony Atlas, special guests Native American Tatanka, Marty Jannetty, and John Cena Sr. This week, however, instead of my podcast-style intros, I'm joined at the hip in between each episode with Tony Atlas himself as he joins me in studio for several segments to give the episode a little bit more flair. Have some fun with us late night tonight. It's like Saturday night's main event, only without the wrestling, just the memories and the legends. Let's run down the schedule for you, folks. Every Saturday, Sunday, Monday at 2 p.m., we have our Wrestling Insiders flashback videos, which looks at interesting stories and experiences from a variety of superstars that will hopefully tempt you to sample our Patreon service. Every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 9 p.m., we review the previous night's WWE and AEW television programs, podcast style, like you're listening to right now. It doesn't matter the day of the week because every day at 10 a.m. we have our short WWE history videos where we flash back to results from a live event in that day in history, primarily focused on the 80s and 90s, since that's usually the theme of our Wrestling Insider talk shows outside of current events. And the main events are outstanding, state-of-the-art, count 'em four, not lousy-looking Zoom interviews, in-studio shoot interview Wrestling Insider talk shows. Tuesday at 10 p.m., Tony Atlas is back shooting on Kowloon's closing and Sasha Banks being named Wrestler of the Year by Sports Illustrated. Wednesday at 10 p.m. after NXT and AEW Dynamite, it's Wrestling Insider Special Edition with our rotating guests. This week, the veteran Savio Vega returns to talk more mid-90s WWF. Thursday at 10 p.m., Marty Jannetty's No Holds Barred Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll adventure through the 80s and 90s continues on Party with Marty. And we round out the week after SmackDown every Friday night as the lights at the Thunderdome go down. John Cena Sr.'s dome is just lighting up on Wrestling Insider's Fabulous Fridays at 10 p.m. Don't forget, we have 3 big live episodes coming up, including tomorrow night, Valentine's Day Sunday, February the 14th. It's going to be an NXT TakeOver watch-along. This coming Friday night, February the 19th, during SmackDown, Marty Jannetty is going to be with us live for a fun episode, a cyber autograph signing to help raise funds to keep our talk shows going. And then a week from Sunday, we'll be back for an Elimination Chamber watch-along. Don't watch these pay-per-views alone. Pay-per-view parties are kind of a thing of the past. Even before wrestling's popularity started to decline, now we have to deal with coronavirus. Fire up WWE Network, then join us on a second screen to enjoy the pay-per-view with your friends here at Boston Wrestling. While coronavirus has killed the nightlife, our eBay store is open 24/7, baby, with great rare wrestling merchandise from every era. And again, every purchase gets you an on-air shout-out from Tony Atlas on Wrestling Insiders at your house. Check out the link to Boston Wrestling's eBay store in the description box below. Our Patreon is chugging along with early ad-free access to our Wrestling Insiders in-studio shoot interview talk shows, access to our world-renowned studio shoot interview DVD library that's been seen by millions online, and millions more on The Howard Stern Show, exclusive Patreon content, plus help keep professional wrestlers You lost me. I got tongue-tied. Help keep wrestling legends working during the worst of times, going on 11 months of lost bookings and independent wrestling events, autograph signings, and fan fests due to coronavirus, over at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. All for less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks. You can't go wrong. Finally, the big ones that will cost you nothing but a few seconds of your times. If you enjoy our programs, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to our YouTube channel for free, and hit the little notification button so you can be alerted to all of our great programs. It lets YouTube know that you enjoy what we're doing, and it showcases our shows to new fans that don't know who we are yet, new friends that we haven't made yet. I have no ego. I know there are millions upon millions of fans, especially lapsed fans from the 80s boom and the Monday Night Wars in the 90s, that have said bye-bye to sports entertainment and moved on in life, but they would absolutely love what we're doing once they find us. We need our Boston Wrestling Warriors, and that means you, if you're listening to this show, our Boston Wrestling Warriors to help the cause. Please, share, share, share. Share the links to these shows, especially the in-studio shoot interview talk shows, on social media. Share them in Facebook wrestling groups. Share them on Reddit and other popular wrestling websites. We've had tremendous growth over the past year. It's been unbelievable, but at the same time, where we're expanding, we're taking up a lot of studio time and space. We need to keep increasing the numbers for the studio to justify it. Everything we've just mentioned costs absolutely nothing. Again, but a few seconds of your time. We appreciate it more than we can say sincerely. Again, I don't want to do Zoom interviews. I think they look lousy. I think they sound lousy. Sometimes one head is at the top of the screen, the other guy's head is at the bottom of the screen. We want to use this beautiful studio for all we can, folks. We want to give you not just quantity, but quality across the board. That is how I've always looked at it. I don't want to go the cheap way out and do it Zoom style. In some cases, we have to do podcast style interviews, but I hate Zoom. I think it looks terrible. It's great for work meetings and things like that. But if you're looking to document wrestling history, do you really want to do it on a Zoom interview? I know I don't. Anyway, now, a man who's going to be heartbroken come Monday once all that chocolate is off the shelf, longtime Boston Wrestling MWF associate, Mr. Dave Carter. All right, Dave, what a night it was down in Tampa, Florida, where hopefully we will be in just about 2 months now for the big WrestleMania weekend. SmackDown, it was not the go-home show, but just 9 days away from Elimination Chamber. A lot happening. Let's, as DX would say, break it down.
Let's break it down. I love it. All right, so we kicked it off with Roman Reigns, music hitting with coming down to the ring with Jey Uso, Paul Heyman. Adam Pearce was already in the ring. You didn't even know because they didn't show him. So as soon as he comes down, you see Pearce in the ring. The crowd was actually really hot. Even though I know they're piping in noise, I thought they were doing it.
The fake crowd was hot last night.
Right, but it was a lot more than usual. I don't know if you felt the same. The "you suck" chants, it just sounded like it was more than usual last night. Um, Reigns tells Pierce to not be scared. I don't wait for you. You don't call any shots, I do. Basically, he's the sun and everybody orbits around him. Edge is scared of him. He knows what he will do if he faces him. He'll beat him so bad, he'll end up with a Legends contract, which I kind of liked because he pointed that out. It was kind of good. Pierce tells Reigns he will defend the title at Elimination Chamber. Then Paul Heyman gets on the mic and says he's obligated to face somebody at Elimination Chamber, but it doesn't say that he has to defend it in the Elimination Chamber. So basically, again, they get to call the shots, which I don't like because we've already talked about that. When you're not the official, you shouldn't be allowed to make the match. So that's like borderline. I don't know. I kind of don't like it, but basically they changed the match then to six guys, or is it 6 guys will be in the elimination match.
6.
Yeah, 6 guys will be in the elimination match, and the winner of that will end up facing Reigns at Elimination Chamber, which I don't know. I basically, after that, Pierce tells Heyman to shut up. KO, what?
Oh, that was a laugh.
Oh, okay. And Roman doesn't like it and gets out of the ring pretty much after they announce who's going to be in the match or how they're going to do it. Jey Uso's going to be in it. I don't know. To me, the promo was long, but it wasn't bad. It's just, like I said, I don't like the idea of Paul Heyman being able to make the rules. You know what I mean? I get it's not in his contract, but still, it doesn't say that he can't be in one either. You know what I mean? What about you? Do you feel that way, or do you okay?
You know what? I guess, and I'm trying to look at it from a storyline point of view, not real life point of view. I guess it really would go by what the contract would say. If they signed a contract that said he has to defend the title at Elimination Chamber, it all goes by the wording. Then sure, it makes sense. And it's plausible that they could put together another match to determine who that contender to face Roman that night would be. What I hate, and I mean guttural hatred, is that they're adding this god-awful second Elimination Chamber match that I don't think fans are asking for. I don't think the fans are banging at the door to see 2 Elimination Chamber matches that night. I think the first year they tried to do it in 2008, it was very clever. When John Cena came back to win the Royal Rumble as a surprise at Madison Square Garden, and he didn't want to wait until WrestleMania to get his hands on Randy Orton, and then that put Vince McMahon in the position to have to create 2 number 1 contenders for WrestleMania, and they needed 2 chamber matches that year. To do it every year for no rhyme, no reason. I mean, there is nothing appealing about this SmackDown Elimination Chamber matches. I'm sure we're going to discuss as the show goes on. But as far as for Roman Reigns' presentation, I thought it was awfully clever of him and Paul Heyman. If it was their idea to come up with the wording that he had to defend it at the pay-per-view as opposed to having to defend it in the actual chamber itself.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I see it from your point too. I mean, it is definitely a clever idea. It's just, I feel like that's more like a SmackDown type of match. Like you would do that, and then the winner of that would, you know what I mean? Instead of doing it all at I mean, I get why they're doing it because then they can do the chamber, but the match itself without the chamber, you could do that on SmackDown. You know what I'm saying? And then the winner of that. And
it also gives whoever the loser is an out. You know, I hope it's not, but just say it's Owens. Say Owens wins the chamber, and then after winning the grueling Elimination Chamber, he goes on to face Roman, and Roman, you know, all but squashes him. Then you have a rematch for the title at Fastlane or something along those lines.
Yeah, I hope not either, because then we just keep on seeing the same. I get you. From that, we got a Seth promo hyping up his return for tonight. Then we got a little thing. I just wanted to throw this in there. It wasn't really a segment, but it was just Sasha Banks is going to be the honorary starter of the Daytona 500. They love WWE. Every year it seems like they are the people that do that. The person that waves the white flag or whatever it is at the Daytona 500. I don't know. Why'd they pick Sasha, though, out of anybody? I don't, you know.
That I couldn't tell you, but I know there is a kind of, from studies that have been done over the year, NASCAR and race car driving has a similar fan base to that of wrestling. And
yeah,
you can
I know.
Read into that what you will.
I know what you're talking about. I've heard that too. It just blows my mind that they pick Sasha out of me. But I guess because she's a good-looking woman. I mean, I don't know. But anyways, on today we got your favorite, probably one of your favorite segments of the night. We had Pierce and Sonya backstage.
Yeah.
Basically, Sonya saying they need to come up with an elimination match. Sonya says, "I've already thought of it. Let's make the winner of the tag team match tonight get in the chamber." I don't know. What did you think of their idea of Sonya being involved with it?
I hate the idea of Sonya Deville at all. Her wrestling isn't that great. This character presentation sucks. It's not needed. I know again, let's be PC. Let's have a woman do it. Whatever. There are far better women. They could have dived into the veterans and legends that they have involved with the company. Maybe someone with a tremendous personality like Ivory, just is a shot in the dark as someone that I think would have been much more appealing than the kind of drag and boring Sonya Deville. What a lousy, boring concept to come up with. Oh, well, we'll do it. We'll have tag team matches to have people to qualify to go into the singles match elimination chamber. Again,
Right.
I don't know if it was one of the shows I did with you, one of the ones I did with Sacco, but this episode altogether, it was almost like, they were having breakfast at IHOP and they said, oh shit, we got a wrestling show tonight. And they wrote down the ideas to come up with the show on a napkin and put it in their pocket and then brought it to the Thunderdome. I did not like this at all. It defies common sense to have tag team qualifying matches for 6 individual spots in Elimination Chamber. I mean, it is what it is, but
Right, and the thing about it is that you're basically saying that whoever wins out of these tag teams are gonna have to fight each other in the like. I don't understand it. Why would you want to fight your partner unless you have to? Unless it's a rumble or something. Like I don't know. I totally.
Well, none of them were really, other than the Mysterios. Well, no, that can't be. Well, again, we're giving it too much thought, but it's just, again,
Right.
Corbin and Zayn, they've never
just
teamed.
liked when they used to
Brian
give
and
it to
Cesaro they weren't really teams. It's just,
but they're friends now.
just
They respect
pathetic. It would obviously, I would have rather have seen them just name who they wanted to put in and then
Right.
just give them singles matches and have them all win the singles matches so
like
they
they
go
did-
into the show strong.
Yeah, like they did on Raw. Remember, they just named him, and it is what it is. I don't know. To me, doing the tag, like you said, the tag team thing is just too much. From there, we got the tag team match that's going to qualify for it, which was Rey and Dominic Mysterio versus King Corbin and Sami Zayn. Zayn comes out with his document crew as he's getting his playing. He complains about WWE management again. Matty has to even earn a way into the Elimination Chambers. He's gotten screwed by WWE officials all year long. Basically not happy to be with King Corbin either as his partner. And then King Corbin came out. We got the match started. I don't like the visual of Dominic outside the ring, waiting for a tag. I don't like it. I think he looks like a kid. He's too small. He needs to fill out. We've talked about that last week too. I just don't like the visual at all with him. I think he makes everybody else look weaker. Like when he has to do moves to Corbin or whatever, it just doesn't look right. Like if I know I love wrestling, but some people just turn it on because it's on Fox and they're like, what is this kid doing in the ring with this grown man? I don't like the visual. I don't like what it makes to look wrestling because to me, wrestling needs to look believable. It used to, and it used to look good. You used to have grown men in the ring, big guys. Now it looks like kids, and some shit just bothers me so much because I have such a passion for it. And I look at this, and it just, what is going on? And sorry, I went on a little tangent there. I don't know that it just bothered me.
I
so
do
much.
it all the time. Don't worry.
I just seen it, and it bothers me. Zayn and Corbin win the match by pinfall. They head to the Elimination Chamber. I thought the match was all right. Like I said, I just can't get into it when I see Dominic in the match with guys like that. If he's wrestling 205 Live, one thing, but these guys are like Corbin is a big dude. He should not have to sell to Dominic. He shouldn't. It's not right. It's just bad. What about you?
Again, if you just take out everything from the concept of the match to the reasoning for the match to the physical appearance of Dominic and Sami Zayn looking like pro wrestling's Oscar the Grouch, it wasn't all that bad of a match. But if they have nothing for Dominic to do other than do clean jobs to Oscar the Grouch, again, it's time to take him off TV, send him to the Performance Center to train, to become a solid, crisp pro wrestler, and to get his body in shape to look TV ready, as opposed to someone that needs a bodysuit. I found this match to be a waste of Rey Mysterio, but again, wasn't a bad match as far as the actual bell-to-bell action. It was the circumstances that surrounded it that I hated. But I'll note, if you are a Rey Mysterio fan, folks, we have a couple of limited edition WrestleMania 35 and 36 autographed Rey Mysterio 8x10 photos available in the Boston Wrestling eBay store. Link in the description box below. Help us keep professional wrestling legends working, ones that you may want to hear from on our talk shows, which I don't think you'll ever want to say about Sami Zayn 20 years from now. But who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, I agree with you. And you know what the crazy thing is? You bring that up, and I think about it now. If you're Rey Mysterio is the legend in the match, and you don't even know he's in it half the time because he doesn't do much, and he's not. It's like Dominic. You know what I'm saying? It's more Dominic than Rey. Which why?
Still coming over the eye injury, I guess.
I don't know. Then we got another Sonya and Adam Pearce backstage segment. Rude and Ziggler come over and talk to them, trying to get in the chamber as well. And basically they say they can earn a shot if they beat Cesaro and Daniel Bryan. So we got another one that we already know your opinion. I don't know if you have anything else to say about that.
Not really, no.
Okay. We come back commercial, and it's Reginald backstage carrying a glass of wine. He sees Sasha backstage, apologizes to Sasha, and she goes, "Did you really mean that I could be Bianca?" And he said yes. She takes the champagne glass from him. He goes away, and she smiles and starts walking. I don't know. There you go. That's literally the segment.
Listen, Reginald, I hope Reginald is saving his paychecks, because I don't know how long of an endeavor WWE is going to be for him as the manservant of Carmella.
Right on. We get Big E to the ring, talks about his match last week against, the two other guys, and he's a fighting champion. Apollo music hits, head down to the ring, says he knows why Big E's out there, basically because he's going to issue a challenge for the Intercontinental Championship. He says, "Why not face me?" Big E says, "Anyone but you." And they start talking back and forth. It was weird. Did you notice the microphone? It was weird. Like, they forgot to put the microphone up or something because you could barely hear it. I don't know if that was supposed to happen or not. But
I think from the way I looked at it, is if they were trying to present it as, more of a quote-unquote shoot where, they didn't want the fans at home to exactly hear everything clearly through the microphone. This was two men that were angry at each other and nose to nose. They didn't want the microphones in the way. That was my interpretation of it.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. They could have just
You're
forgot.
probably right. You're definitely right. Yeah, that makes more sense. No, that makes sense. I hope they were at least going that route, because that makes sense to me. They just go back and forth. Big E says, "Bring out my next challenger," after they just keep on talking back and forth. And it's Shinsuke Nakamura, which
the artist.
What'd you say?
The artist.
Yes. Then we got the Intercontinental match, which was Shinsuke Nakamura versus Big E. One thing I noticed in the match is Big E's is such a force. I wish he could just be serious. I wish they could literally I wish he didn't do any of that New Day stuff now that I know how he can work and how he can talk, because I don't know if he's ever going to be able to lose the joke stuff and just become a serious guy, because if he could, he's got WrestleMania main event written all over him. I think so, at least.
I think he's too small.
Really?
For that. For a WrestleMania main event? Yeah, he's not that tall.
There's two titles, though. He doesn't have to have
He has two titles. What do you mean?
No. There's two different championships.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
I don't look at him as I'm not saying he's bad. I just don't look at him as main event material. Even if you could eliminate that. I mean, who knows? Maybe if the booking was different the past.
That's what I'm saying.
9 years. I would look at it differently, but
exactly. That's what I'm saying, because he could have been, but with this, I don't think he'll ever get over being and he still does it. He's still doing New Day and all that stuff. He just doesn't break away from it, which I guess because at some point they're going to do a draft. They're going to end up being back together. It's going to be, laugh,
big reunion, like DX.
Pancakes and all that crap. Basically during the match, it's a pretty quick match anyways. Apollo gets on the ring apron, starts screwing everything up. Big E goes for the big ending, and Apollo drop kicks Nakamura, causing a DQ to end the match. They have words, they exchange. I don't know. What do you think about it? Do you like him getting involved?
I've said it many times. I can think back to house shows we saw years ago that I just think there is so much more to Apollo Crews than WWE has allowed him to showcase on the TV shows. If going the heel is that route to get it out of him, maybe that is the best way to go. I don't think Crews has been turned yet since he debuted on the main roster or even in NXT. If it was I think he would have been a better fit for maybe the Hurt Business on Raw without the nonsense I still don't understand with Cedric Alexander, who just joined the group, already teasing turning heel on a heel faction. But that's a different story for a different show. I like the fact that they're going to give Apollo Crews at least some television time to showcase what he can do. They haven't completely given up on him or turned him into a guy, that's on main event each week, or even worse, sitting around in catering, or even worse, another talent that I think is a lot of untapped potential, someone like Bo Dallas that's just sitting home doing nothing. Are Crews and Big E matches going to set the world on fire? I don't think so. But is it a chance to continue to keep him in the rhythm of the show? If so, I think that's a good thing. I think Apollo Crews can be someone that can contribute in a positive way.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, that I can't say it any better. That was perfect. I like what you just said. From there, before they go to commercial break, they show everyone walking down the ramp towards the ramp. I didn't even understand what the point was. But then when they come back commercial break, they say they're all around the ring for Seth. Seth's music hits, which at first I loved it because I thought he was going to do what we've been talking about last week too, is he's going back to the old Seth. So he says music hits, I'm pumped, everything's good. He says he's good to be back, things have changed, and talks about how he's a parent now, a proud father of a baby girl, has changed him, he has a new vision, looks around the ring and sees so much talent. Where does he fit in? He realizes he needs to be the leader and lead SmackDown further. And then everyone starts walking back up the ramp. All you have to do is embrace his vision. Realizes everybody walked away but Cesaro. Cesaro's sitting there just, I don't know why he stayed. They didn't really, because he ends up starting to walk away. He gets attacked by Seth, this was cool. Seth beat the crap out of him. They let him go crazy on him. I love that. DB came out, Daniel Bryan came out, helped Cesaro. Seth has a crazy looking smile. I don't know. I liked it, but I don't want Seth to go back as the Messiah. If he goes back as a heel, like we were talking about last week, with when he was a Triple H and Stephanie, that heel I'll like. I don't want him to go back to the Messiah. What did you think of the segment? I know you didn't care about the people around the ramp.
I think it could have been worse, but it could have been a lot better. There was zero reason for all of those people to come out. I mean, why would a WWE official say, okay, Seth Rollins is coming back. You guys all have to go to the ring side area and listen to him. Why? I roll my eyes at that. But, he had his nice leather suit that he came out to. He had his old theme music ready to burn it down. I said, thank the heavens. Maybe there is a Messiah out there that is leading some common sense back to the presentation of Seth Rollins on a WWE TV show. But there was still Messiah tendencies to it that I didn't like. Exactly. I have no idea why this was the week they had him attack Cesaro, where Cesaro was involved in something else later in the show that had nothing to do with Seth Rollins. I thought Rollins' punches looked exceptionally bad when they were in the entrance area, but that's one man's opinion. I hate people that if you can't throw a good-looking punch, there's 100 other things you can do. And I've said that 1,000 times. Not to say that in general Seth's punches are bad, but if you go back and look at that segment when Cesaro was on the ground, it almost looked like he was slapping him and missing him with half of them. But I imagine it's going to lead to something with Cesaro and Rollins. But again, I don't know why this was the week. Go ahead.
What's crazy? Remember last review on SmackDown? We talked about that. Maybe Cesaro, and now they're doing it. That's crazy to me that we actually talked about it. Now, a week later, they're actually doing what we were talking about. Remember, we said if Seth could work with Cesaro, because we were talking about Cesaro signing back and everything. I just think it's pretty crazy that actually maybe way they're looking.
Well, obviously, there's going to be some kind of encounter out of it. If it was me, I would hold off on Rollins' in-ring return to probably the Fastlane pay-per-view, make it have a little bit more meaning. But
For
you know the patience they have in that company. I was surprised they didn't have the match with Cesaro last night. I think Cesaro is going to win Elimination Chamber, as we're going to get to in a little bit. He's had so many credible wins of late. There's no one really in the chamber that would be really hurt if they lost to Cesaro, because again, it's an elimination chamber of mid-carders as far as the match goes, which is why I have no idea why they're even wasting their time doing it. But
other than
what's that?
Well, other than KO.
Well, let's wait till the end of the show till we break down the match itself completely. But I didn't understand the reasoning for a Cesaro Rollins angle. You could have done that next week. You could have done that the week after Elimination Chamber. Why take away from the point of contention of the week for Cesaro, which was his primary focus of trying to qualify, teaming with Daniel Bryan to get into the match itself? But I digress. As far as what Rollins did, it wasn't horrible. It wasn't great. It was somewhere in between. Let's see if he continues down the path of becoming more of the 2014-15 Seth Rollins or more of the unfortunate 2020 Seth Rollins.
Right on. Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll have to keep on reviewing SmackDown. Hopefully things will turn into the old Rollins we're talking about.
And I don't want to forget, fans, again, where coronavirus has kept the nightlife kind of quiet. Over in the eBay store that is open 24/7 for Boston Wrestling, we have one left, a Seth Rollins WrestleMania 35 autograph photo, one of only 35 in the world. So if you love Seth Rollins much more than I just described, head on over to the eBay store. The link is in the description box alone. Help keep wrestling legends working. All right.
Let's do it. All right. From there, we got Bayley coming down to the ring, starts screaming other workers' names. Sorry, I should say women's names. Coming down to the ring. I don't know. She's very upset. Bayley was very upset coming down to the ring. We end up getting Bayley versus Liv Morgan with Ruby Riott. Liv's getting better. I know you're probably not going to agree with me, but from what she has done before to now, she's gotten a lot better in the ring. I think she looks smoother. Her moves look better. Natty and Tamina are watching along. Billie Kay comes down to the ring trying to give Ruby her 8x10, which ends up making Liv get distracted. Bayley wins the match by pinfall. I don't know. You go ahead, talk about it. Shit on me about saying Liv was better.
Just a complete and utter waste of time that doesn't build to anything of interest. I don't like Bayley. I think Liv Morgan's lovely. I don't think her wrestling is very good. I guess you've seen improvement that I haven't seen as of yet.
I didn't say it was great. Don't get it to it, because I didn't
use the word great. I didn't use the word great.
She got better.
Improved.
No, I'm saying in general, because people are gonna be shitting on me for saying that. I'm not saying she's the best. I'm just saying she's gotten better than from before. That's it. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
Billie Kay is the Titus O'Neil of the women. She is the worst of the worst. Everything with Billie Kay, I hate. I detest. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I love that example.
Oh, I thought you said hello. I'm sorry. No, I just every time I see Billie Kay, I just want to change the channel. She adds nothing.
She's so beautiful. That's the thing, is I don't get why
I don't even think she's that attractive. I think her tag team partner is lovely, but I don't think that Billie Kay is. She looks like almost like a ghost. She's so white.
I don't know.
I don't know how Billie Kay is still on the roster, but and then again, I don't understand how in a company that has women's tag team titles that really has no tag teams, why they broke up the Iconics and announced the match for the potential breakup about 15 seconds before the commercial break before the match. But that's a different Raw from a different month of a different year. But just again, so much so wrong, so uninteresting, so pointless. But one thing that does have a great point, if you are a fan of Bayley, I tell you, my dear friends at WWE sent along two autographed Bayley 11x14 art prints. You're going to see them on the set this Sunday during our NXT watch along, and until they sell. Again, they help keep the lights on here at the studio and help us bring you more great guests. If you're a Bayley fan, what a great addition to your wall. This isn't the Bayley of now. This is that fun-loving Bayley that would come out swinging her arms with those big things that they have at used car lots to try and draw attentions that would swing around. And there's a lot of fun if you love Bayley with these personally autographed, one of only 50, I believe. Very limited edition. So Bayley fans, check it out in the eBay store. Again, the link in the description box below. I would much rather check out our eBay store than watch that match again.
There you go. We got Kayla backstage with Cesaro and Daniel Bryan, basically talking about qualifying for the chamber match tonight. Cesaro talks about how he's going to get his opportunity, and then Daniel Bryan gets on the microphone and says he's very tough, and then they go away from it. I don't know. You got anything to add about that?
Not really.
Okay, just want to make sure. And then we got they showed a little segment. Street Profits were at the Daytona 500. They gave the WWE title to.
They should have let them stay there.
Yeah, I had to look up the guy's name because I don't know anything about NASCAR, and I didn't even hear them say the name because they were screaming it. It was Chase Elliott. I guess he's a new up-and-comer, but they gave him a WWE title, so then they gave him a helmet and some cups. I don't know. Again, like I said, WWE's all over the Daytona 500, and we talked about because the fan base is kind of similar. I don't know. Anything else on that? I don't want to skip over you in case.
Like I said, I wish they let the Street Profits stay there, but unfortunately they left.
Okay. As the Profits are coming down, we had a taped promo of them, little rapping, a little ha-ha stuff, and then we end up getting Street Profits versus Otis and Chad Gable. Ford is so talented. I hate it because he's just so goofy. Because he is very talented and very athletic, but he's just so goofy. I can't take him serious. I hope some way, somehow, he can get out of this and maybe try to see what he can do if he's a little more serious in the ring. Because he is talented, very athletic. I love him. I just wish he wasn't so goofy. Chad Gable is great. I'm hoping this is just a little thing they're going to do for 6 months with Otis, and he'll get away, and Chad Gable will finally get a true shot as a singles competitor. It was a decent match. Street Profits win by pinfall. You?
I hate the Street. I shouldn't say that. I'm just not a big fan of the Street Profits. I think Montez Ford, great athlete. He looks like he should be playing basketball, not a pro wrestler. There isn't much mass to the man. Then you have Angelo Dawkins, who does have, pretty good size, but he's so out of shape. He comes across as lethargic when he tries to do those running, post to post and whatnot. He's out of breath by the time he actually hits it. If you could morph the two of them, if you could take Ford's kind of physique and his athletic ability and morph it into the kind of the girth, the thickness of Dawkins, I think you'd have one really good wrestler. But, Street Profits, they're a one-trick pony. Once you've seen one Street Profits match, you've seen them all. Once you've heard one Street Profits promo, you've heard them all. They're all virtually the same thing. They bore me. They were kind of fun the first dozen times you see them, and then you realize it's going to be exactly the same thing every single time you see them. And is that Street Profits' fault? I don't know. I'm not the producer of their matches trying to put it together, but either Street Profits or the producer of their matches, should kind of come to the realization that they need a little bit more variety than what's presented now. Then you look at the other team. Chad Gable, he was in a tremendous tag team with Jason Jordan, was in a tremendous tag team with Shelton Benjamin, was in a tremendous tag team with Bobby Roode, and now they weigh him down with Otis, who is, again, the Eugene of 2021. He was so overutilized and overexposed in 2020 that the fans couldn't have cared less about him. He was just so shoved down people's throat for a character that wasn't that over because Vince McMahon found so much humor in him. He was definitely the flavor of the week, and that flavor is his past. They had Heavy Machinery as a regular tag team. They broke them up for absolutely no reason. They had Tucker turn heel on him. They sent Tucker to Raw, so there wasn't even a grudge match or a vendetta of any kind. They just had Mandy Rose leave the man. I don't know if their romance continues off screen. There's been no updates to Mandy Rose and Otis together, and I don't think anyone really cares. It's just, I feel bad for the guy because, in real life, he's a tough guy. He's a shooter. He was recruited by Jerry Briscoe, and he's been put on television as an imbecile that fans, not as someone to laugh with, but to laugh at. And you're only going to laugh at someone so many times before you get bored with them, just like I mentioned about Street Profits. Otis, again, is a one-trick pony. He should be removed from television. I'd bring the man back as a badass, as a killing machine, as opposed to just an overweight imbecile of a joke. Chad
you think
I'm sorry?
Though, he's already been...
What's that?
You think they could do that with what he's already been, like how he's been? You think you could take him serious? Because look at what you do when you talk about him. You do like, yeah. Like, do you think he could actually come back as that, though, after being this far into that?
I would have Otis cut a promo, angry, almost saying everything I just said, or per se, they do a trade or next year's draft or whatnot. I would have Tucker come back and cut the promo I just did on Otis. Otis, the only reason I turned on you was because everyone was making a fool out of you. Mandy Rose was making a fool out of you. You were on television with a big opportunity, and they were making you look like a joke. I was trying to smarten you up, which is why I turned on you like that. I think there is a way where you could, I don't know about reinvent Otis, but present him as more of a danger and a threat as opposed to an imbecile.
Yeah, I like that. Okay. Yeah, that's actually not. Now that you got my head cooking, yeah, I do. I like that a lot. Actually, that wouldn't be bad. I hope they, you know what? You need to get that magic pen and start writing that.
Or I would create an all-kid show and put Otis on that, because if you had a show aimed at elementary school age kids, they'd probably find a lot of fun in Otis.
Jesus, yeah.
I do not find a lot of fun in Otis at all. Other than I enjoy doing the imitation. I will not lie.
If they were going to do this to him, this plan, should have just kept him with Tucker. Should have just kept him as a tag team.
Right. And now Tucker's on the fucking missing persons list on Raw. I mean, they're ready to put his picture on the side of milk cartons along with the missing kids. Where did Tucker go? That poor bastard. Another one, I hope, who is saving his paychecks.
Yep, exactly. Jesus. Okay, so then we get Sasha. Music hits as the Profits are walking up the ramp. She dances with them a little bit. Man, she looked good though. I loved. Sasha's. I can't even get over. She looks awesome. She looks great. Then she gets in the ring. She says she likes Bianca a lot. It's her big little sister. Bianca comes down to the ring. She sees Sasha. That's what she keeps on saying. I see you. I see you. I don't know what that is. That's just their talk, I guess. She likes Sasha too, but Sasha is not the boss of her, she says. Yeah. Nia Jax and Shayna comes down. They come on SmackDown. You must have been happy about that. And they joked about her saying her
Herman
hole.
in the hole. There they came.
And basically says, who cares about Bianca and who cares who she selects at Mania? They're the most dominant team in WWE. They basically said, they show the clip of her screaming, my hole, or whatever. I still don't understand the whole big thing about this. I said, oh, you get what I just said?
Yeah, that's the whole thing. No pun intended. Or maybe it was.
Go. I'm cracking myself up. But yeah, they show the clip of that. They all start brawling.
Hell of a brawl. It was like ECW Arena in 96.
Female brawl, I should say. The female brawl happened. I don't have much to say about it. I thought the segment wasn't needed. You could have just been fine with Bianca and Sasha doing their little thing and then going out. I don't know. What do you think? Why would they? I still don't even understand the point of them coming down the ring.
I think where Nia's kind of a novelty this week because of the whole my whole scream.
Yeah.
I wasn't surprised by that. And, of course, where Nia goes, Herman Munster has to come along with her. I just...
Dan, hold on.
Yep.
One thing you got to do is stop with these names, because seriously, every time you compare someone, I think, like the ref, I think of John Candy now. Now you're calling her Herman. All I think of these visuals. I can't get them out of my head. Dan, it's terrible.
Well, I can only call him as I see him, and since the first time I've seen Shayna, I thought back to the reruns I used to watch as a child of the Munsters, and she has kind of a forehead like Herman.
Yeah, I mean, I seriously, every time now I think of those people. Sorry to cut you off.
That's all right. I imagine we're going to have some quote-unquote tremendous women's tag team title matches between Nia and Shayna challenging Sasha and Bianca leading into one of the pay-per-views, or maybe on one of the pay-per-views. I don't know. I particularly don't care. It's not something that I want to see. I am very proud to say that I know that what comes off of the back of Bianca's head is actually called a Q. John Cena. I already mentioned that. Okay.
Yes.
John Cena Sr. informed me of that. I don't know how Johnny knows it's a Q. I'd like to see Johnny with one, but that's a different story for a different time. Is it a match that I want to see at WrestleMania? Not particularly. Is it a match I want to see at all? Not particularly, but you know what? Sasha is the face of the women's brand on SmackDown, I guess. And if you are a Sasha Banks fan, folks, take note that we have a couple of limited edition Sasha Banks items in the Boston Wrestling eBay store. The link is in the description box below, I should say. We have the Sasha Banks WrestleMania 35 8x10 photo, one of only 35 made. And we also have brand new, WWE sent me a couple of them. And I no sarcasm here, like I was about most of the segment, but this beautiful black and white 11x14 Sasha Banks poster. I think it's one of only 50. I know it's very limited edition. It might even be less than 50, but it's a beautiful black and white poster of Sasha, personally autographed. And again, these purchases help us keep the legends working, help the legends keep coming into the studio. So if you like Sasha, if you're looking to add some Sasha merch to that wrestling man cave of yours, the Boston Wrestling eBay store is the place to be 24/7.
There you go.
This is a great way to get the cheap plugs in.
Yes, sir. I like the way you're doing it. One thing is, do you see this happening? This is just me thinking big picture. Do you see Sasha and Bianca teaming up, beating Nia and Shayna for the titles, and then you get tag team champions facing each other at Mania for the big title?
What I hope I don't see happening is Bianca's queue getting stuck in Nia's hole.
There you go. But do you see, is that something you could see them doing? Just to add a little more to the match?
If it eliminates them having to have a women's tag team title match at WrestleMania, I would love it.
Yep, you're all for it.
I would love it.
I was just thinking about that last night once I see Nia and Shayna come down. It's like, okay, they're going to do this match either at Elimination Chamber or Fastlane, and then she's going to pick, you know what I mean, Sasha or whatever, and they're going to be tag team champions and face each other. That's the only thing I could see happening. I don't know.
Oh,
maybe
because
not.
this year, think of the overload of women's matches they're going to have at WrestleMania. The two title matches, obviously. You have to.
You're excited.
Imagine, depending upon who the champions are, a tag title match. Does the Battle Royal, I know it's not Moolah, but does the Women's Battle Royal have it? Is it named after anyone anymore or no?
I don't know.
You don't really care either.
I know the Battle Royal, Andre the Memorial. I don't know what the women's one is called.
Well, they don't want to. They took poor Lillian Ellison out of the equation on that one. But so you're looking probably at least 4. I mean, spread over 2 nights, it's still 2 a night, which is too many to me. But it is what it is. It is what it is. At least it's not the Bellas who are talking about coming back for next year's WrestleMania to challenge.
You're excited for them?
No, I hate the Bellas.
I know. I'm just kidding.
Like I said to John Cena Sr., you know, where they tried to marry so well in the world of wrestling, and their mother tried to marry so well into the world of wrestling. You know, maybe there are some aunts and cousins that are interested in hooking up with some WWE superstars, obviously for love.
There you go. All right. So from there, we got Rude and Ziggler versus Daniel Bryan and Cesaro. Daniel Bryan dives into the Cesaro outside the ring on accident during the match. I knew that wasn't going to cause a feud. I was just surprised they actually did that. I don't know if that's going to start something because the outcome of the match is, we'll talk about it in a second. Corbin and Zayn are at the top of the ramp, basically laughing and stuff. Match was really good. I mean, Rude and Ziggler, good workers. Obviously, Daniel Bryan and Cesaro are great workers. Love Cesaro's uppercut. I think if he has the right person to sell that, like Ziggler did, it's fantastic. It looks so good on TV, at least. I didn't think it looked, you know what I mean? It's one of those moves that you have to take well to make it look good. Yeah. And I think if he gives it to the right person, it always looks awesome. And I really like it. Cesaro won again with the sharpshooter. This time he beats Ziggler with it. They're heading to the chamber match, Cesaro and Daniel Bryan. At the end, Jey Uso attacked Cesaro with the chair. KO came out and Stone Cold Steve Austin all over again. It was stuns for everybody. Everyone got a stunner. Roman was looking on backstage, just basically holding his temples and just very upset looking. And at the end, you see Kevin Owens get on, looking at the hard camera going, "We'll see you real soon. I'll see you real soon." And that's how SmackDown went off the air. What did you think of the whole thing between the match and the end of it?
The match itself wasn't so bad.
Right.
What happened after the match was atrocious.
You didn't like Stone Cold?
I didn't like any of it. I mean, Sami Zayn turning on Corbin 45 minutes after they became friends.
Yep.
I mean, I think Jey Uso is one of the great stories of 2020, 2021, even if he's kind of cooled down a little bit in recent weeks. But I like the more vicious side of him. I like the fact that he's attached at the hip with Roman and Paul Heyman and that whole storyline, how that played out in the late summer and early fall. As far as this Kevin Owens experiment goes, my God, I mean, it looks like an indie Mick Foley trying to do stunners in the ring, and none of the stunners look good. They should have Steve Austin school him on how to do the stunner the right way so the fans, once they have live fans back, might actually react to it, as opposed to him. It almost just looks like he just goes straight down flat on his ass and his legs. They don't look believable to me. They don't look credible to me. He doesn't look all that credible to me. I mean, is he the world's worst wrestler? Absolutely not. He can have some great matches, but his physical presentation leaves a lot to be desired, and those stunners are horrible. He needs to go back to the pop-up powerbomb or anything but the stunner, because it's insulting to the legacy, I should say, of Steve Austin for them to be that bad.
Right on. Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with that. That's for sure.
But as far as the chamber match goes itself, look at the 6 that are in there: Kevin Owens, Jey Uso, Cesaro, Daniel Bryan, Baron Corbin, Sami Zayn. Lots of guys that can do clean jobs that no one really cares about headed into WrestleMania. Bryan, at one point, I know, is going to get a championship shot at some point. I know that's been in the works. Will he win the chamber and come out and lose to Roman Reigns that night? Cesaro has been white hot. I mean, just look at the wins and the over credible people he's had on SmackDown of late. That makes me kind of think it's going to be a Cesaro night. It would be a good match for Roman, I think. It wouldn't take away a marquee match from WrestleMania or even Fastlane for him to beat Cesaro. You could set up a storyline maybe where Bryan gets a few eliminations, and then the next week on SmackDown, Bryan says, well, you know what? I came so close at Elimination Chamber at Fastlane. I want it to be my night. Or maybe Adam Pearce says Bryan was so impressive with several eliminations in the chamber, he gets the title match at Fastlane as a result of it. There's several different ways they could go with it, but I would imagine if not at Elimination Chamber, Bryan's night would be at Fastlane. One man's opinion. I don't know that to be fact. It's not a scoop from WWE that I was given. As far as Owens and Roman again, it wouldn't be a bad match if they did it, but not one I particularly want to see again. I think Uso and Roman would be fantastic, especially now where Uso's the heel. Corbin and Roman has been done to death, and Sami Zayn, I don't even know why he's around.
Imagine if he wins,
I'd send Sami back to Sesame Street to find his trash can.
There you go. The only thing I was thinking about that is, what if Jey Uso comes out on top? That match, just to pull a fast one on Adam Pearce, he just lays down for Roman, and that's how they do the match.
I out of everything we described, to save a potential Bryan-Roman match, I'd like to see that.
I was thinking about that all night once they said that in the beginning that he was going to be it. I'm like, he's winning it.
He cuts the promo, and Roman comes out and cuts the promo and says, I sit at the head of the table and whatnot, and I'll bow down to the king, or however they want to phrase it.
And he lays down for him, and that's the only thing I can see to pull a fast one on Pearce, and they show Pearce come out, and I just could see WWE doing that. That's right up WWE's sleeve. That's my opinion. I don't know. I honestly hope they don't do that. I'd rather it be a Cesaro night, because I think that would be very fun, but I have a feeling Jey Uso is going to win this match, and then that's going to happen. That's me, though. I don't know.
Roman and Rollins, is both his heels on that show, they need some help on the babyface side, desperately. Mm-hmm. I mean, if, per se, Edge goes on to challenge Reigns at WrestleMania and wins the title, I think that would automatically transfer him over to the SmackDown roster. That would certainly help. But I hope Roman doesn't lose the title. I'd like to see him have a nice long run.
Right.
But they're desperate on the babyface side. Would Uso as a babyface now, would it have more meaning than it would last summer? Yes. Is he a guy that you're going to look at as a top face? I don't think he's quite there yet. I think it would lead to some great matches. I just don't think he's a guy to be the top babyface of a brand. I don't know, who would you look at as the top babyface on SmackDown right now? Owens?
Honestly, if he is, I don't even
Who?
know if he is. Kevin Owens a babyface?
I think so.
So he's probably the top one. Or Daniel Bryan. Those are the only two that are on SmackDown that I would say. Because like you said, there isn't many. Because everybody has this, like, I don't know, no one you can believe. And I know that, like we were talking about last week, Cesaro's kind of going that way, but he's not fully. So you can't, I don't know if they're trying to convert him into a babyface. I don't know. It's very weird what they're doing right now with everybody a heel and no one's, like we just said, a babyface. It's hard.
Even on Raw, I mean, the show has been built around mainly with the biggest angles, The Fiend and Randy Orton, who I think are both heels.
Right. They are. I mean, well, the Fiend's supposed to be a heel, but everybody loves him. I don't get it. It's almost like when Stone Cold was supposed to be a heel, but then he turned, you know what I mean? Everybody loved him, so you had to make him a baby face heel. You know what I mean?
For a long time, they had the problem of it was all baby faces and no heels, and now it's all heels and no baby faces.
That's why I hate Dave, but they need a guy like John Cena back so he can work some of these heels because he's the only one that really can be a true baby face. And you know what I mean?
It's another reason why I say that Drew McIntyre should have never, ever laid down for a 3 count until fans were allowed back into the arena so WWE could see if he's a top guy or if he's someone they can build the company around.
And because what do you lose it for? A month?
It was pointless. It was
right.
pointless just to try and pop the ratings for a couple of weeks.
Right, and it didn't make any sense because you didn't need Randy with the title because Randy's still on top now. He's still doing his stuff. So with him with the title or not, it didn't make any sense. I didn't understand either because at first I thought, oh my God, they're going to have Randy going to WrestleMania, but then he won it back. And I'm like, why did they even do that? It didn't make any sense. I don't know. But grading-wise, if we're going to grade it now, if we're done talking about that, I'm going to give SmackDown... I'm going to go with the 6. I'm going to go 6 out of 10.
Really? Wow, you really liked it.
I thought a 6 out of 10. I think that's good because there was some good. The matches were good. The what they presented, but the matches were good. I didn't mind the beginning promo. Like I said, I thought it was good. A little long, but it was good. I thought, I know you're not a big fan of the women's stuff, but I do like Bianca and Sasha, them going back and forth. I don't think Nia and Shayna should have been involved, but I didn't mind it. I do like some of the women's stuff. I'm one of those guys that have an open mind on everything. I don't mind the women wrestling. Let me ask you this real quick, too, with that, because I was thinking about this last night. So, you know how you always say they should have a women's show? Would you even watch it, though? You personally?
I would.
You would? Okay. Because then you'd know.
Because I wouldn't, my thing is, I wouldn't dislike it as much. When I am forced to watch, well, you can say you're never really forced to. But if I decide to tune in from beginning to end on a wrestling show, I am forced to see these women compete on the same show as these men who are much stronger, much bigger. Their work is much tighter. The women's work outside of someone like Asuka, it's very light. I hate to use the word cosplay, but I mean, sometimes with Sasha and Bailey, they want to do Eddie Guerrero's moves and they want to do Macho Man's moves and so on and so forth. It's just... you know what I mean? You wouldn't have women WNBA players in the same game as NBA players. You know what I mean? That's why I think you're doing a disservice to the women by doing it this way. I'd rather see the women have their own show. Let's see if it sinks or swims.
Which I totally agree. I would personally watch it too. Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. I just always want to. I know you always say that, so I was just wondering if you'd actually watch it or is it?
No, I would.
Okay. So that's good. But like I said, I think a 6 out of 10 for me is pretty fair with that. What about you?
I gave it a 4 out of 10 just because the show needed so much work. That's one of the lowest SmackDown ratings I've ever given. Last week, I know I gave it a 6. I just think the show more than anything, it needed to be edited. I mean, if you wanted to go with some of these segments and some of these processes headed into the pay-per-view, there's so many different ways I would have booked it. Like I said, they would have been singles matches to qualify if they really wanted to go that route. It definitely wouldn't have been tag team matches. The Rollins return would have been executed very, very, very different. Like I said, the show would have been, to me, if I was the booker of it, it would have been based around 4 big qualifying matches for Elimination Chamber, maybe something with Sasha and Bianca to tease whatever direction they're going to go in with them, where Bianca had the Royal Rumble win. I would have done something with Rollins' return that would have been very different than having the whole crew around ringside. I don't know if I necessarily would have even bothered with Big E and Apollo Crews this week, where it was kind of needless. The same thing with the Street Profits match. I just would have, if someone said to me, this is what we have on paper, what would you do? I just explained to you what I would have done to try and spicing it up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I think I just, because I like the matches, that swayed me a little more. I honestly had a 5/6, but I know we can't do 5.5.
No. None of that.
I went with the higher only because I felt like the wrestling was good on it at least. But I get what you're saying. I can't disagree with that.
And the only reason I gave it a 4 is because, no, there was nothing bad. It's just the thought process and the point of view was atrocious. The work itself was fine, if not good for the most part on the show. There was nothing, and even the show itself, as much as there were a lot of things I didn't particularly care for, it was never to the point like it is on Raw a lot of weeks where I want to change the channel. You know what I mean? It didn't get to that level for me. But it wasn't that great of an episode. There were so many things I would have changed to make the show so much better.
Right on. Other than that, I mean, I have a little bit of news. One thing that I think you're probably really happy about, because I know you enjoy him. Christian Casanova was signed by WWE to a deal this week. I know you really liked him in the independent, so I don't know.
Well, what does that mean for the Uprising faction and the Boston Wrestling MWF? Another one of their studs goes on to WWE. Tommaso Ciampa was part of the Uprising faction. He's one of the top stars in NXT now. I hate to say it, but Velveteen Dream was part of the Uprising faction. Brian Malonis, now of Ring of Honor, is in the Uprising faction. Now Brian Pillman Jr., now he's with AEW and MLW as well as the Uprising. Yet another member of John Cena Sr.'s and Cam Zagami's faction. It shoots through the roof. I detest some of the things I've seen Christian do in the ring at live events, but as far as the human being goes, I'm very happy for the opportunity it looks like he's going to get. He's worked very hard.
Right on. And then one other thing, your bullshit Swan's going to be facing Tommy Dreamer Saturday night at No Surrender.
Well, that's tonight, isn't it?
Yeah, tonight. I was just saying I want to throw that out there because I know you really like Swanee as well, so I figured I'd throw that out there against Tommy Dreamer.
You know, I think I might miss that one, believe it or not.
Oh, there you go. Oh, man. I love it.
I may miss that one. But I'll tell you this, what I am not going to miss, and hopefully you're not going to miss, is tomorrow night, L-I-V-E, live. It's NXT TakeOver. What the hell is it called? Vengeance Day?
Vengeance Day.
Vengeance Day on Valentine's Day, folks. Pay-per-view parties were becoming a thing of the past even before coronavirus. Why not fire up WWE Network and watch the pay-per-view with your friends here at Boston Wrestling MWF? We'll have the live chat going. We may even do a giveaway or two to have some fun. Your super chats are always welcome to help us keep the lights on. I'll be joined by myself and Dave Carter. I think Mr. Sacco in his salmon pants will be in Connecticut. I don't think he's going to be with us in studio. I know a lot of the fans have noted during the premieres that much like a lot of the women of Tampa, of a certain demographic, used to say, you're much more likable than Sacco.
Oh, well, that's good. I'm glad.
I know, though, you'll be disappointed come Monday.
Why?
Because all the chocolate will be off the shelves in the store. You're going to have to go back to the apps.
You got me. I didn't think about that. You know what? It'll be discounted, all the Valentine's.
Well, you know what? I have to stop or I'm going to go away. I'm really going to cross the line because what I'd like to say is already floating through my head, and it's just so wrong. But anyway, fans, don't forget the top of the hour, 10 p.m. Eastern. It is Wrestling Insiders Week in Review. We have 4 full-length studio shoot interviews with the Hall of Famer, Mr. USA Tony Atlas, special guests, the Native American Tatanka, Marty Jannetty, and John Cena Sr. Let me tell you, John Cena Sr. was on fire in this interview about The Undertaker's comments on The Joe Rogan Show, WWE Creative, and more. Stay tuned, have fun with us. It's about a 3-hour-long episode. Again, it's like Saturday night's main event, only without the wrestling, just the memories and the legends. For my friend Dave Carter, I'm Dan Mirade. We'll see you at the top of the hour for Wrestling Insiders. And tomorrow night, live for NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day. Good night. The World Wrestling Federation was live at the Wicomico Youth and Civic Center in Salisbury, Maryland, Sunday, February the 13th, 1983. The opening contest, Tony Gurrier and Eddie Gilbert beat Sweet Hansen and Baron Mikel Cicluna. Salvatore Bellomo with the win over Kurt Hennig. S.D. Jones defeated Charlie Fulton. WWF Intercontinental Champion Don Morocco retained the title over WWF Tag Team Champion Jules Strongbow. Rocky Johnson victorious over Buddy Rose. And in the main event, the WWF World Champion Bob Backlund retained the title over Mr. Fuji, who replaced superstar Billy Graham. If you were in Salisbury Live, share your memories in the comment section below. Use the links in the description box to keep wrestling legends working in our eBay store and on our acclaimed Patreon streaming service so we can bring you more interactive superstar shoot interviews to relive the good old days of professional wrestling. Check it out. Boston Wrestling Sports in the MWF explodes into a new year with professional wrestling content galore and need you to join our family. Every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. after our Monday Night Raw review, it's Wrestling Insiders at your house with WWE Hall of Famer Mr. USA Tony Atlas. Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. after NXT and AEW, join rotating legends on Wrestling Insiders Special Edition. Every Thursday night at 10 p.m. after our NXT and Dynamite review, it's Marty Jannetty's no-holds-barred sex, drugs, and rock and roll journey on Wrestling Insiders Party with Marty. Friday night after SmackDown, don't miss John Cena Sr.'s Wrestling Insiders Fabulous Fridays. Plus, look for classic clips, history videos, bonus live episodes, pay-per-view, watch-alongs, and more. For less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, get early ad-free access to our Wrestling Insider talk shows, our acclaimed studio shoot interview DVD library, and help keep wrestling legends working during the worst of times. Join our growing family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Expect the unexpected in 2021.